I've gone ahead and I've finished up my Half-Life series, and one of the things that I modeled in there was this sink. And so I'm going to provide you with this reference here that you can download from the Zero Bio Discord. Just follow the link in the description and you can model along with me, and we'll create this sink. We won't get to texture it in this video, but we'll do the modeling. So here in Blender, you just bring in your reference and it'll position itself right there if you're looking in front view. So I'm going to press S2, scale it up a little bit. I'm going to press G and drag the reference over. And we're going to try to place this as close as we can to the center. I'm actually looking for this dot right there. That's not bad. I'm going to press 3, look from the side, and pull it back out of the way. Alright, so here we go. We're going to get to model this thing now. We'll start with a circle, Shift A, Mesh, Circle, and I'm going to switch this to something like 22 vertices, and we're going to rotate X90 and scale it up a little bit more so that it fills that inner circle, and then SX, scale it in the X and pull it out like that. Now that we've done that, we're going to press E to extrude and S to scale and pull it out until we hit the outside of it. Alright, to get the back part, select this vertex and these three on the other side, and just pull them towards the back. Alright, with that done, we'll go back into object mode and press Control 1, and that will smooth it out. I probably would put on 2 subdivisions and we'll get that shape. And if you want, you can manipulate it a little bit to change the shape, but I'm okay with that. Alright, back into edit mode, and 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click here, E to extrude, pull it down a little bit, and we'll make this lip part here. Shift Alt and click in the middle, E to extrude, pull down a little bit. And at that point, I'm going to go back in object mode. I'll shade smooth. I'll press 1. We'll put some edge loops in that in just a moment. But what I'm going to do now is we're going to move over to this diagram here. So I'm going to press G, and I'm going to pull it over. And we are going to go into edit mode, select it all, RX -90, and drop it down. Now this part here, I want to try and get this as centered as I can. I'm going to look at the center edge there and the blue arrow and try to get that as much as I can in the middle. It will make it a lot easier for creating all the other parts. If you want, you can scale it a little bit if you feel you need to, but that's not bad there. Shift Alt and click here. I'm going to pull down, S to scale. I'm going to pull it in. And that's pretty good for matching the diagram. Okay, let's put a couple of edge loops. Bring one up here. We'll bring one up here. Alright, not bad. Okay, for the bottom, let's deselect and Shift Alt and click there. Let's just press F to make a face. I to inset, pull that in. Look down from the top, and I'm just going to press S and X and pull that in so it's a bit more of a circle. Alright. And that's probably okay just like that. Similar to my diagram. Alright, let's delete that face. And Shift Alt and click. Maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller. You can do whatever you like there. I'm going to press E to extrude and pull down. Then I'm going to Shift Alt and click that edge and bevel. Control B and pull and bring down to about there and roll my mouse up one time. So I have these rows. I'll show you. Face selection, Shift Alt and click, because we're going to use those rows right there. 3 rows of polys. I'm going to Shift D to duplicate and pull that up, P to break it out, and I now have that to make the drain. Back into edit mode, Shift Alt and click this edge, E to extrude and pull it down just a little bit, and we can come in here and we can bevel this. Control B, pull. I'll roll back to 0 so I have 2 edges, and then roll up to get one more in there. Select it all and pull it down in. Somewhere around there, but I'm going to take it, I'm going to press S to scale just so it's not on the wall. And that's good. No one's going to see that far down into that, I wouldn't think anyhow. Okay, so let's make the metal part in there, the mesh part. So I'm going to select one of these circles, maybe that one there. Shift D to duplicate, pull it up. P to break it out. Go back into object mode and select that. I'm going to get rid of the subdivision surface. Go into edit mode and select it. F to make a face. Then I'll come up to face, grid fill. And I'm going to try 5 here. And I get some divisions, and now I'm going to subdivide a bit more. And I'm going to have a problem with the outer edge, so I'm going to delete it. Shift Alt and click. I'll have to do that a few times. I think it's probably 4. And X vertices, that's gotten rid of the problem, but it's not really a circle anymore. So I will right click and choose Loop Tools, Circle. And now I can take this and push it in, scale it a little bit, like that. And make sure that it is facing outwards, which it is, and then add modifier wireframe. And you can play with the values, so you can hold shift and make it a little smaller. And we have that in there. Okay, so we've got the basic part of the sink now. And we're going to go on and model some of this. We'll do this one, we'll mirror it to the other side, and then we'll do that guy there. So let's select something, and actually let's come up here. Might as well choose something like there. Shift S, cursor to selected. So we're in the vicinity of this to make that, and we might be right on, I don't know. Let's do another circle. Let's go for 18 vertices this time. Go into edit mode and scale it down. Press 1 for vertex selection. And that's pretty good. And we'll probably model from there and go over the other side. We'll see though. Okay, now you can't see it very well in this diagram, but there's a little bit of a lip similar to this on these as well. So I'm going to press E to extrude, come up, and just like that, and then E and S and come in like that, and then E and come up here. So we'll have this. Now we'll be putting a subdivision surface on that later on. Okay, so now I'll go back into wireframe, E and S, come up to about here and scale. It doesn't matter if it's not perfectly on the diagram, that's okay. Come up here. I think I'll shift alt and click there. I'm just going to scale it a bit more. Okay, so to about, let's say the middle of this, E, come up to here. E, come up to the neck part and scale it in. E, we're going to come up through this this bolt here, and I think I'll select there again, and I'm going to shift or scale Shift Z and make it a little narrower. So I got that part there. Now I'm going to press E and S, and I'll come in, and I really like to work in vertex mode here so I can see my vertices and see how wide that is. We're going to come up here right to the top and go into solid view. I'm going to press F to make a face, go back into front view and wireframe, and 3 for face selection. And now I'm just going to bevel back and roll my mouse up a couple of times, and we'll have this. Looks a little bit like a perfume bottle. It's a way to do that, I suppose. Let's come in here and bevel this, Control B, pull and roll back so I have the 2, and then 1 more is going to be fine. I'll add a subdivision surface. I'm going to go for Control 1 for now and add some edge loops on this thing. So I'm going to Shift Alt and click there and Control B and bevel. And I'll bring an edge loop down here. We'll bring an edge loop down here, just not too tight. And then we'll come into these things and we'll either do them individually or together. Let's see, let's try together. Control B, just a pretty wide bevel. And then this one, I'm actually going to bring it a little bit more central, and S to scale will come out. And then maybe I'll take these two and S to scale. And, you know, when you put on a second subdivision, if you choose, you certainly wouldn't need to. It'll round it even a little bit more. And you can play with this as long as you want to get it as round as you can. But I won't take too much time doing that. So that's what we have. Double check this. Yeah, okay. It looked a little funny to me. You get used to that. It starts to look strange. Okay, so what do we got to do? Let's make the bullet there. Where's my 3D cursors? Right there. That's fine. Shift A, mesh circle. Let's go for 6 vertices. And come up and scale it. I'm pretty much doing all my scaling in edit mode. I'm just used to that. So I don't have to apply scale and rotation all the time. E to extrude, come up. I just want it positioned in there so I see a little bit of that. F to make a face. F to make a face. Select it all, press 2 for edge selection. And Control B to bevel. Hold down Shift, pull, and I want those 3 edges in there. And that just feels a little thick to me, so I'm just going to scale it back a bit. And a little shading in a bit. Okay, let's make that circle there that holds the parts of the tap. Let's use maybe this circle here. Shift D, S to scale, P to break it out, and keep saving. All right, let's go to edit mode and bring it down in size and position this. E to extrude and come down. F to make a face. F to make a face, and then we'll grab both of those faces in face selection, or any way you want to. What am I doing? There we go. And Control B, and put a bevel there. Shade smooth, and then just look at this. And well, we may have to adjust it. We have to get these on there, and we'll have some thread down on this thing. So to do that, I'm going to bring an edge loop down to about the middle. Control B to bevel, pull up to I have, let's say, 3. I got a little bit of space there, a little bit of space there. I'm going to Shift Alt and click all of these again. Control B and pull, but roll back to 0. So I just have the spaces. You know what? Those are a little bit far apart, so I'm going to scale in the Z. That'll crush them down a bit. And then E and Alt S and push to simulate thread. You know, it doesn't wrap around or spiral around, but it still, I hope, looks okay, especially from a distance, and just adds a little bit extra detail. All right, cool. So let's do these parts now. We'll bring in a cylinder, and we'll go for 16 vertices. Leave the ends capped, that's fine. And just start positioning this. Rotate Y90, scale it. Let's grab the whole thing. All right, A, grab the whole thing. G, pull it over, and just keep in mind it's got to attach to this, so we may have to make this longer, or we might be just fine right there. I think that's pretty good, actually. So let's look from the front again and pull this out to near the end, scale it up. I'll pull it out a little bit further, and then I'll just turn it to the side a little bit and Control B and just bevel it the way you like. I'll just leave a space at the end. I'd rolled up. What did I do? There's the 2, 3, 4. One more. I don't know. Maybe it's overkill. Let's slash key to focus on that and get rid of this face. And go back into slash. Go back into slash. Let's take this part here and just extrude it in a little bit. And Control 1 and shade smooth. And that should look okay. I'm not going to worry about that pattern in there. I don't think no one's going to ever see it. So, yeah, let's look from the top now. My 3D cursor is positioned right in the middle, so I can Shift D, rotate Z 180. I've got both of those. I'm going to join them. Shift D, rotate Z 90, and I'll join those. I'll be joining it all very soon. And save. And I think we have done all of that. All right, so what I'm going to do is let's shade smooth that and double check everybody here. Ah, see that guy. Glad I did that. I think I will see. I can get away with one subdivision there. So I'm going to Control A and apply that. And these have one as well. And I'm going to apply those. And this has two. I'm going to go down to one and apply it. So I'm hitting Control A. And now I'm going to start joining these things. And I think I can join it all together. And yeah, it's a little bit dense, but there it is. And generally I would put just one metal on there. Or maybe, you know, a silverish metal and a gold tip. All right, with that done, I'm going to select the whole sink and Shift-S cursor to selected. And take this and set the origin to the 3D cursor and mirror that to the other side. And just have a look. And it looks like we're pretty good on the diagram, so that's good. So now we're going to model this piece here. So I'll go ahead and bring in a circle. We'll make it 18 vertices again. 16 probably would have been okay. And we'll just do this kind of quickly. It's basically the same. Back to this guy. I'm going to scale this Shift-Z. Okay. So we have that. Let's see where we're at. Okay, that's where we're at. All right, E and S, I'll come in a little bit. I'll go into wireframe and 1. And here we go. E to extrude, come up to this part. Maybe Control plus and scale Shift-Z just a little bit. Okay, the main body, E, come up to about here and scale it out. Just keep in mind I need to attach these things, so I want a piece right there to do that. So I'm going to press E to extrude. I'll come to about the middle of those. E to extrude and come up to here. It's pretty much an equal distance, really, in general. Although it looks different, so I'll bring it. I'll go to there. That's fine. Somewhere like that. It is pretty much equal anyhow. All right, so up to the neck there. Scale it in and under. I'll just pull it down a little bit so I have a bit of that neck where I go to place the bolt, which I'll just be copying, by the way. E to extrude and come up to here. And this is going to be a separate piece, so I'm just going to E and S and pull it in like that. And that will be where that part ends. Now we'll bevel a bit. Let's take that, Control B, pull. I just want 3 in there. And I will probably bevel like this for that thing. Let's go ahead and do Control 1. I'm going to end up with Control 1, so okay, bevel the same way we did before down here. Drop an edge loop in there, and then start messing around with this thing here. You could probably get away with just doing that. You probably don't need extra edge loops in there, so I don't think we'll put them. I realize this is just above the drain. We'll move it back after. That's totally fine. Yeah, okay. In fact, actually, let's go ahead and do that now. Let's go and do it in edit mode. I'm going to bring it back and just decide whereabouts you want it towards the back, so I can have a tube coming out of there and going in. So just move it back, and let me have a look here. You can see it's quite far back there. All right, and yeah, I'll just do that. Okay, still on the diagram, everything's fine. Okay, so I will come in here and we'll select this lip right here, and we'll create the faucet part here. I'm going to use a curved path. Rotate Y90, scale it, and look here, and I'm going to bring it up. I'll scale it again so it's big enough. Something like that. Press 3 to look from the side. I'm going to take this point, pull it over. This point, I'm going to pull it over a little bit, I guess. And this one, I'm just going to press E to extrude and come out. And let's just look at the shape of that and the diagram here. And I see I'm going to, well, we'll know in a second. Let's give this some thickness. It's a little bit easier to work with. Like that. Okay, and now I can come in and start moving some points around here. Let's come up like that. I don't want to spend too long doing this. It always takes me time to get a reasonable shape, so I don't want to waste your time too much. I think what I will do though is I'll press E to extrude and I'll come down a little bit, just straighter down, if that's a word, straighter down. And just get yourself a shape that you like. You don't have to do it with a curve, of course, but that's just the way we're doing it here. That's good enough for now. Let me just see how, yeah, we're relatively close on the diagram. And where's this one? Let's select that point, look at the front. I just want to see relative to this. Yeah, I'll put my little thing on there, so that's good. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to take this actually, and I'll use that. Shift D and P to break it out. And let's come in, let's drag that point down a bit. And we can use that and expand it a bit to make that piece. And we'll just have to manipulate it a little and get it to be where we want it to be. I might pull it down a little bit and back a tiny bit. Let's go ahead and convert that to a mesh right now. So come up to the resolution. Don't leave it on 12. Turn it to something like 3. And then right-click, convert to mesh. And now we can close this up. You could probably even get rid of that. Yeah, let's just have to make a face. And this one, I mean, you can give it some thickness, but I'm just going to do this. No one's going to look any from that angle, from the bottom. Shade smooth. All right, so we do need to bevel this. And, you know, there's the end there. Now, are we on the diagram? Pretty close. Okay, how are we looking here? Yeah, it's all right, I suppose. Okay, let's put on the bolt and then we'll see. So come in here, select the piece and Control L, and then Shift D to duplicate it, pull it out, P to break it out, and then take the mirror off there. And the 3D cursor's right there, so why not go set origin to 3D cursor and set geometry to origin just to get it right in there. And then we can adjust, go into edit mode, pull it down, and maybe make it a little bit bigger to make it a bit different, you know, and scale shift Z too, you know, because this is, you know, the main part now. And maybe take that and rotate the Z just a little bit so it's not the same as those ones. Double check face orientation. Yeah, this guy needs to be flipped. All right, good stuff. Save. And, you know, I guess it's all right. So let's go on and do the connections, and then we're pretty much done. Okay, I'm going to take this and pull it back. I'm going to bring in a plane. I'm going to look from the top, and I'm going to go into edit mode and wireframe, and I'm going to scale until my lines are in the middle of these, and I'm going to pull it like this, and imagine coming out here, going into there and there. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to pull it to about, just so it's inside these and X edges. So now I have that. I'm going to pull it down, and I can adjust the position later on, but I roughly want it like that, right? It's going to come out of these and it's going to go into that. Okay, press 1 for a vertex selection and Shift Alt and click both of those. And now we just bevel this by eye, not on the diagram. There's 3 vertices, 4, 5. I want 5 and a nice round curve. All right, let's convert that to a curve. And then in the curve dialog under geometry and bevel, hold down Shift and pull. We can see the diagram for this and just get the size that you like and the positioning that you like. All right, I'm going to shade smooth. And it'll look like that basically. I think that's probably okay. So let's come in here now and select those 2 points that they're straight. That's important. Shift D, P to break it out. Take that and just make it a little bit bigger. And if you're happy with that, then change the resolution to 3, right click and convert to mesh, and then come in and shift alt and click there and just go F to make a face, and control B to bevel, and have your 2, 3 edges like that. And if you want, you can pull it in, but I don't really care. Okay, so that's done. The 3D cursor is right in the middle, so we can set the origin to the 3D cursor if it isn't already, and we can mirror that to the other side. All right, that's good. And then what we'll do is we need them here, so let's take that, select it, Shift D, rotate Z. I think it's -90. Was it? No, just 90. Rotate Z 90 and slide it along, and then just try to get it to fit. Maybe look from the top, G, and pull that in. I'm really not looking at the diagram anymore. In fact, maybe I'll make this one a bit bigger. So let's scale it, but not in the X. Scale Shift X, just to accentuate it, because this is the main part of the faucet. All right, so I don't know if that was necessary, but maybe it looks better like that. Let's double check. Everybody, looks all good. Okay, so now, generally I would join it all. So let's come in here. This is a curve. Let's make this 3, and there's no mirror or anything. So let's right click, convert to mesh. And those ones are mirrored, so Control A over that. That's a mesh, so I'm going to join those. That, let's see, is that joined? It's all one piece, right? Now this, I'm going to Control A, and I'm going to join these. And that's, I can join that. This is a curve, so I'll make it 3, and convert to mesh. And that is a mesh, so I'm going to join those. Everything's looking good, so I can join those, because again, I'm doing them all. It's all going to be in metal. So and I think we are ready to join everything, except no, that's a mirror, so that needs to be applied. And I'll join that. So let me double check that all of that is joined. And I think the final thing I would do is I would come in here and I would select little bits of this and go Control L, and I would rotate in the Z a little bit so that it's not identical to the other side. And I would probably do that for this as well. Rotate in the Z just a little bit off, so that all of these bolts are off a little bit and the taps are off, and that I would have all of this as one piece, and I would have the sink separate from it. You don't have to, and these pieces probably separate. You could join it all together, or you could join that to here. Yeah, I'm going to go back to one. I'm going to apply that Control A. Maybe I will actually no, this yeah, that'll be metal. So I would join that together, and I guess for this piece, if you choose to do it like this, I will apply that, and I will take this and join it as well. Let's get rid of that. I don't need it anymore. And take this and just bring it more to the middle. Something like that, and Shift C. And let's turn on the cavities on shadow, and both is on, so that's good. One thing that you can do is you could take this and make sure it's in a collection. I'll just call it collection 2. And then if you have a look at my statistics, it's not going to be too low. It's, it's 31,000, so there's definitely some polys in that. But you can Shift A, collection instance collection 2, and make a copy of it. All right, and then you can rotate X90 or whatever if you need to have multiple sinks. Or I take it back, I can Alt-R on that one, and Alt-R. If you were actually just doing a bathroom scene, you could have multiple ones of these there. And of course my poly count didn't go up. It's at 31,000 there. So if I take this and duplicate it, I'm still at 31. So I could have a big long row. You can still scale these, all right, and you can rotate them. But if I make a change to this one, if I rotate that, it affects all of them. All right, so if you wanted to have these tabs slightly different, you know, this one bent and this one turned, you couldn't do that in this method like that. But at least it reduces your polys and it looks real cool. All right, so there's the sync. Hope that was helpful to you, and we'll see you next time.